Hey, how you doing, everybody? This is Matt from the Matt and Irie Show. Now, once again, President Trump and the Trump administration is causing global chaos with this war in Iran. Run the clip, Josh.
Embassies, one in Saudi Arabia, one in Kuwait, as Iran steps up its retaliatory strikes on American assets and allies across the Middle East. Both embassies hit by suspected Iran drone attacks, and there's also this video showing a massive inferno at one of the world's largest oil refineries in Saudi Arabia. The death toll for U.S. forces since the war began has now risen to 6 after a counterstrike against a U.S. facility in Kuwait. The State Department is now warning Americans to leave nearly the entire Middle East immediately.
6 U.S. troops have already been killed. This is getting crazy. Now, people are going to say, hey, you know what? This is war. This is what happens. It was a bad regime, whatever the case, whatever you want to say. But it's causing global chaos, even in the trusted markets, right? It's causing chaos even in the markets, not just in terms of violence, right? But in terms of the markets too, which President Trump always seems to be a champion of and say, look, I'm the president of the markets. Run the clip, Josh.
Couple of days, it seems as if you maybe think that markets aren't reacting quickly enough to the developments in the Middle East. In which assets do you see that most notably, Mark? Is that a stock story? Is it oil?
It's not so much the speed of reaction, it's kind of the delayed attitude is very complacent. I think that over the weekend, what we saw was a game-changing event. I'm always in favor of not being too knee-jerk. Monday's price action didn't surprise me too much, but as we've had time to process it, it is fair to acknowledge that almost nobody I spoke to expected the Iran situation to be like this week. They didn't.
Nobody expected it to be like this week, right? So pretty much Trump did this attack and he deceived the millions of Americans. And reports are coming out that even people in the Senate only heard about the attack hours before it happened, and they were not provided all the details. Of course, this is crazy. President Trump, you're killing me, man. You're killing us, man. This is crazy. Now he's literally doing it, right? This is crazy. And this is what we have to do as American citizens. We can sit here and complain. We can criticize him. But there is something that's happening. It's a litmus test that's happening in Texas. It's the Texas primaries. Now, I get it. The main election doesn't happen until, November. But they have the Texas primary. And we're going to cover that live later today. So it's a pretty hectic race, even for the Republicans. Run the clip, Josh.
Chandler and NBC's chief data analyst Steve Kornacki is at the big board for us. So first, Ryan, to the Lone Star State, set the table for us here. We mentioned that we're watching these big Senate races. President Trump declined to endorse any of the Republican candidates on Friday. So how are they making their final pitches to voters?
Well, right, Ryan, without the explicit endorsement from the president, or at least the exclusive endorsement, he seemed to heap praise on all three of these men at his event in Corpus Christi, Texas last week. But the pitch from all candidates is still their proximity to the president. They want to impress upon voters that they are a friend of Donald Trump, and they have helped get his agenda across the.
This is why people sometimes hate politics. Obviously, Trump is becoming more and more unpopular, right? But what are some of these people who are running for Senate doing in Texas? They're running closer and closer and closer to President Trump, right? Despite everything that's happening, right? It's crazy, right? And it kind of lets you know politicians they just go with wherever the wind is blowing, right? And Trump is not even endorsing any of these people, right? He's going to sit back and just see who wins, right? And plus, Trump doesn't care. He doesn't care. But this is the problem. They have to go down there and get this primary done in the midst of all this chaos, another war that's being started. Markets, even though some people may not really care about the markets, right? But the markets are going down. Global chaos. Now you have a primary. We're going to kind of see how these things get shaken up and if the most Trump-like, the most MAGA guy wins, because I already think there's a backlash happening towards Trump. Now, the Trump administration does a great job of squashing that, both through social media and both through traditional media, right? but it's there. We haven't seen this type of backlash towards the president since Bush. And even the backlash towards Bush was not this big. So it's getting really bad. So we're going to see what happens. We're covering that live tonight, the Texas primary, and get the results in. So we're going to keep that. We're going to keep that going. And obviously you got Jasmine Crockett in that race. So everybody's going to be watching that too, even on the Democrat side. So make sure you do those three things. Make sure you share, like, and most importantly, subscribe. Take care, everybody.